Joshua Oberg. So this is all starting to come out.
Well, yeah, it's a small community. I'm sure this kind of, a lot of times these people, because let's be honest, this dude who orchestrated this, not a genius. They want to brag to fucking people. You can't tell anybody. That's why I wouldn't bring my cousin into it, because I can only count on me to not betray myself.
Arbogast said that Jesse told him he and another person had killed Joshua Oberg, but he didn't tell Arbogast who the other person was. Arbogast said he and Jesse both were seeing the same woman. He said Jesse arrived at the woman's house one day while Arbogast was there hanging out, and he told him in confidence about the crime.
Okay.
So this is a fucking weird situation. You're both seeing the same girl.
Oh, hey, dude.
I popped by. Some other dude's there trying to make time with my woman.
Hey, you done with that vagina yet?
I'm just going to casually be like, hey, guess what, y'all? I fucked somebody up and buried them.
You might have killed that vagina, but I killed somebody.
Right?
Is he trying to one-up this guy?
I don't know. It makes me wonder. I couldn't find a lot of detail if he was telling them, like he was telling Arbogast this almost to intimidate him.
Oh.
Like, oh yeah, you fucking my girl, I'll fuck you up.
Right.
Or was he just telling him this as like like you're saying?
Yeah, Arbogast had a bigger member. I'm just going to put it out
like,
there.
hey guys, guess what? I'm proud of what I did.
Hey, are y'all done yet? Will you jump in the shower? I want to try that out. What the hell is going on here?
I don't know. It seems like there's you got the small town. Either no one can keep it in their pants, or there's just such a limited number of people to fuck that they're all just fucking the same people.
It's basic economics, supply and demand.
I guess so. So if you're lonely, you're single, you're looking for some love, maybe Buchanan is the place to go if you're like a single female, because it seems like there's a lot of dudes there.
Well, that's true.
And they're just looking for some chicks.
Just looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah. Seems to be the case.
Too many faces.
July 24th, 2012, Jesse, Siren, and Chino are arrested and charged with this murder for hire. Kelly Villagomez, who is Chino's wife, admits on the stand that she's been having an affair with Joshua Oberg. Now, when her husband confronted her about it, she told him it was none of his business.
Don't worry about it.
She also testified that Jesse Heater, who was also employed at the restaurant, did not get along with Joshua.
Oh, okay, so he didn't like him at all. Okay, there's, I guess, a little motivation. Still, kill somebody? Stupid.
Chino was sentenced to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder. I should also add that he is an illegal immigrant, and many people were upset that he had been deported twice before, but had managed to come back to West Virginia without any problems.
What are you going to do?
Is owning and operating a restaurant in town as an illegal immigrant, and the business was in his wife's name, but this was not like it was an unknown issue for police. The guy had been deported twice before.
Right, and you know what? Honestly, he probably did something, you got to get their eye. Well, I mean, don't want to get into all that. It's messy, but he probably did some other stuff to get their attention in the first place when he got deported the other 2 times.
At trial, the defense tried to paint Chino as this hardworking family man who had come to America chasing the American dream. Jesse Heater is scheduled to spend his life in prison for the murder of Joshua Oberg. Siren took a plea deal for voluntary manslaughter and conspiracy to commit the concealment of Oberg's body and was given like a much lighter sentence.
I honestly agree with that, how that's washing out. I mean, really, poor Siren. There's some things he could have done earlier on to help this. But, once it popped off, it was already done. The next thing he knows, he shoots him. It's on. His cousin's beating his ass with a damn pistol. So he's been terrorized off the. So I mean, it's not like he even knew about the plan. Didn't say anything.
Right, and he had ample opportunity after the fact to go turn himself in and to tell police what had happened.
Yeah.
And so from that part, I do blame him.
He should. Yeah.
Because
that's where he could have done.
I understand where he was in all of this, but at the same time, you owe it to yourself and to the victim to come forward and be like, this is what happened.
As soon as you can safely get away from that person and get your, woman and your kids somewhere for the moment, because they're going to scoop their ass up. So that's where he really could have done more.
Now, another layer to this story.
Oh, my God.
A 24-year-old named Luke Stout left his residence on Hickory Flat Road outside of Buchanan, West Virginia between 3 and 5 p.m. on July 18th of 2012. He He told his mother and brother that he loved them and he would be back later in the day. He was last seen walking down the driveway carrying a green bicycle frame. He had made plans to get a ride to meet a friend and fix this bicycle. He planned to give the repaired bicycle to his friend, and then his friend would help him fix his own bicycle, which he had damaged the handlebars and had left, like, in town.
Wow,
in Buchanan.
I bet it's like a badass BMX scene there.
Stout has never been heard from again. After a few days, his brothers find his bicycle leaning against a trailer, which was behind a pharmacy in Buchanan. It had not been repaired.
So they found the frame just like he carried it off and hadn't been anything done to it. Well, okay, that's weird. Why do all these people have awesome names?
Prior to his disappearance, Stout had told people that Chino had threatened him by holding a gun to his forehead. Stout attempted to file a police report, but they turned him away. The police didn't feel it was sufficient to warrant any kind of intervention.
Why?
It was just one of those, like, your word against his. You don't have any witnesses that he pulled a gun. I mean, they just blew him off.
This is where you investigate. This is where you... Oh, my God.
This is one of the small town...
I'm sorry.
We're too lazy to do our job situations, it sounds like.
I really think it's a culture because it is small town. Like we discussed this just the other day, talked about it again. There's a lot of good cops in small towns who go above and beyond. But there's just, I think even they flounder in a department that has this culture, limited resources, small town politics, and they just don't, it's like they don't fucking try. It's like they don't do the basics of investigation.
Yeah, whether it's just apathy or
ignorance.
You're from the wrong side of the tracks, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that happens around here.
But it's like a systematic issue, it seems.
Yeah, so many people that are tied to the drug community here in our small town found mysteriously dead. Yeah, they could overdose. It does happen, sadly. But some of them are very mysterious and weird.
They're all found in creeks. This is just like a little side note. We're getting off on a tangent here. We're going to talk about that
one day.
We will. But in the town where we live, there have been multiple people who have had connections to the drug world.
Yeah, they're doing drugs. Selling drugs.
Are mysteriously found dead, and their bodies are in creeks and streams.
Yeah, and then they're like... just not dressed for the weather, and
yeah, it's like winter. Like they're in their underwear
or
and they're
shorts.
Like laying in a creek.
Yeah,
which is just really odd.
Now,
and of course, it's like, oh well, they just overdosed and died. Who cares? Case closed.
Yeah, and then there's undercurrents and the rumor mills and stuff that's absolutely not what happened. So,
right, and you have to take those rumors with a grain of salt, but sometimes there's some truth. People know. People talk just like this when you're in a small town.
All you got to do is pick that top layer off.
People run their mouths.
Pull that thread and the whole thing unravels. You know what? Here's a fucking crazy idea, guys. Take them a couple of days instead of sitting on the corner waiting to pull everybody going 2 miles over the speed limit or because their tags a few days out of date.
Well, yeah, they can make money off of that.
Yeah,
so.
Instead of doing that, why don't you damn dig into some of this and do some damn police work?
Why are we not cops?
I'm getting... Oh, God, I'm swelling up, girl. I'm about to Hulk out on these bitches.
I know.
Oh, damn.
I know. We're on a tirade. We'll stop.
I'm going to bring
Let's
it
get
back
back
down.
to the story. So
Sorry.
Police didn't feel it was sufficient to warrant any kind of intervention. They didn't do anything about this report that Chino had threatened him with a gun. Now, Chino pleaded guilty in 2015 in connection with this January 2012 disappearance and murder of Joshua Oberg. The victim's body wasn't found until July 23rd, which was 5 days after Luke Stout's disappearance. Because Oberg was having an affair with Kelly, Chino hired these two guys who happened to be cousins of his wife.
Chino's a douche.
To kill Joshua Oberg, and then he gets sentenced to prison. Now, Stout also knew Kelly, and there were rumors that they had been seeing each other at some point prior to Stout's disappearance. This has not been verified, and Chino has not been linked to this case, but it's out there. Draw your own conclusions. It's uncharacteristic of Stout to leave without warning. He's a very devoted person to his family. He lives and cares for his mother, who is terminally ill.
Okay.
I mean, he definitely is her caregiver, has devoted his life to taking care of his sick mother.
So he sounds like a stand-up guy.
He's a skilled carpenter. He'd been practicing the trade for several years. He's also described as like very artistic. I mean, he sounds like a really good dude.
Right, just a good, solid guy you can count on. I mean, that's a big deal to care for your sickly elderly mom. I mean, that's a full-time job on top of having a full-time job. So that takes a lot of dedication.
Kelly, Chino's wife, is no stranger to law enforcement herself. Since her husband's conviction, she has had her own run-ins with law enforcement, mostly for possession of drugs.
So they didn't even reopen the Stout case after all this rest of this washed out, and Chino is connected to hiring someone to kill?
It's still open and just considered like a missing persons case.
See, that's that right there. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, come the fuck on. And you know what? That girl's poo nanny is getting people killed. It's dangerous. And Chino can't satisfy a woman. That's obvious. Or she wouldn't be running around looking everywhere else for it. I just had to say that.
Well, it just seems to me that she obviously has issues with monogamy, right?
Yeah.
And instead of fucking around, like, she should just leave her husband. And instead of hiring someone to kill these other dudes or this one dude,
just leave this girl.
Why don't you just kick her ass out?
Oh, he could, but everything he has is tied up in the
that's
damn
true.
Restaurant.
It's in her name.
He's illegal. He has no legal recourse. I mean, get some balls. Go do something else.
Well,
man.
then why that bitch ain't dead?
Yeah, I know. Put her down. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, that's terrible to say.
You shouldn't kill anybody.
Well, no.
That's what you're saying.
But I'm just saying, like, why does it make sense to kill this guy? Like, if your wife's the one fucking around and everything's in her name, then, like, why is she not the target of your wrath?
Well, yeah, and you just can't keep killing people. I mean, you got to be like, this is not going to work. This is untenable.
She's not going to lock that shit down.
She need to put that stuff away.
You know, when people say things like, you can't keep it in your pants, I just imagine, like, this tiny little lady part.
Yeah.
Or penis.
Oh, yeah.
This little labia and like little penis, and they just jump out of your pants and they're like running around the room, and you're like a cartoon character, like trying to chase it, and you're like, get back in there, you little rascal, and you're trying to like shove it back in your pants.
Yeah, it's like my white privilege keeps getting out.
Is that what happens?
It always shows up behind me sometimes.
Well, this has been our first murder for hire case.
Oh man, yeah, and it's sad. I mean, we kidded around and talked a little mess about.
Well, no, I feel terrible for this guy Joshua Oberg, because one, do we even know for a fact that he was having an affair?
It's probably it could be suspicion.
He's a third party here. He's not married to her. He's not married to this guy. Like, it's not really his problem if this woman's fucking around on her husband.
Right,
That's the way I look at it. He's just there. He's a young dude. He
was probably handsome.
He was new to town. Yeah, he was not a very bad looking guy at all. Like, he was a cute guy, very clean cut.
And it could have just been...
Seemed like he came from a good family.
I'm going to guess Chino's probably not the most secure individual in the world. So, like you said, who even knows if he was actually... And if he was, that doesn't give you a right to do what you did. But it's just... like his last words are why? Total confusion.
Well, exactly.
I mean, that's disgusting. That's horrible.
And there's this whole culture in the hospitality, like the restaurant service industry. There's a lot of fucking around in restaurants.
Oh, yeah. That's, you better have your shit on lock if your girl works in that industry. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. Take care of her.
Well, if anybody does. I mean, I know that over the years in college and high school, college.
Oh, my God.
I've worked in the restaurant scene. Over the years, here and there, and there's a lot of this.
What
You've got the
say?
kitchen staff flirting with the wait staff flirting with the kitchen staff. You've got regular customers coming in, flirting with the bartender. And there's a lot of bed hopping. It just happens.
Oh, God, I look at you in a different light now.
Dylan, shut up.
This is, oh my God. I'm going to arrange your murder.
I'm not working in a restaurant right now.
Well, I don't have $5,000 to get anybody to kill you, so... Maybe they'll take.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
This is definite. Like, there's a culture of this.
Well, and they hang out with each other. They work strange hours.
They drink.
They go
party,
back to somebody's house.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
So if you're going to own a restaurant and your wife's going to be an active part of that, and you're going to be an active part of that, you're going to have to be pretty secure.
and it's just like any relationship.